Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the State of the Empire. Now we're on turn 56, I think it is. I think you can actually take a look over here. 57, yeah. State of the Empire, turn 57. Sorry, I got a bit confused there. The turns have been coming pretty quickly now, which is fantastic. But I've been told to not expect the next turn until about Monday, Tuesday next week from THG, as he's got some personal things to be doing with. So that's fine, gives us some time to really go over the State of the Empire here, and really just, I don't know, just, think over what is to come and what has been done, really. So I think we'll start in China, the old favourite here. I'm just going to bring up the actual drawing tools. I've actually got them available this time around. Right, there we go. Now, as far as it goes in China, I did want to actually attack over here, but I suppose in some ways it probably is something of a mixed blessing that we actually do not attack. Now, it was pointed out by a viewer, called Martin, so thank you very much there, Martin, for pointing this out. I think it was just something that we'd overlooked and just saw excitement here. But indeed, these units do not quite have enough supply. They're not bad, really. I mean, a few of them are a little bit lower. Yeah, I mean, these mixed brigades, so they have, I don't know, some of the units here have about 2/3 of their actual supplies, but overall they are under, which is why they're in red, so they would not actually fight as effectively. They'd fight with 1/3 of their strength, I do believe. It's ultimately not worthwhile doing. Now, the artillery units do not actually require much in the way of supplies, which is fine. So we're going to conduct a bombardment with the actual artillery. Now, the good news is at least these troops will have some time to rest here. You can see that 7 fatigue. I mean, that's... I mean, that is actually... It's a tiny amount of fatigue. Let's be right. Let's be real on this one. But it is still a level of fatigue that is rather interesting to see here in China. See, we could actually find out, and I might find out in the next stream, how long the 15th Division has been here, because if they've actually taken that fatigue from joining into the battles, obviously from the bombardment, that's actually rather interesting. Now, bear in mind that, well, we don't have the city of Changsha yet, but THG is pulling out its units over here. We can see there's 32 units over here. So really, I think this is the 3rd day that they're pulling out, so they may have some units pull out by tomorrow. I suppose the thing is, really, if he pulls out to Changsha entirely, that's a win, really. That is indeed a win. It's not as... I suppose the situation here really is. I mean, if we take a look... Right, so we'll take a look at the terrain here. Now this is urban light, which is ×2 defensive terrain. But on the other side of the banks we do have clear terrain, which is really nice. And the beauty is, for instance... This road is indeed open, so if I wanted to cross unopposed, I could potentially cross over here. But it does come down to the fact of, well, is it worthwhile doing? Because obviously then it takes us a lot longer to move out over here. No. The thing is, obviously his men are in a position when they could actually rail all the way over here, which is something of an issue. What we're trying to do here at the moment is, we have seen that this base is supposedly empty. So what I'm doing here then is I'm flying paratroopers from over here to Shanghai. Then what I'm going to do is try to get them over here to Hankow. Whether I have them flown over, whether I have them transported over via rail, I'm not too sure yet. I could probably fly them over. The units aren't that large, and obviously they're all capable of being transported via air. The distance isn't too bad, but then I'd want to leapfrog over here. The reason is, well, if the actual city is open and it's not occupied, then that's fantastic. It actually gives a small airbase over here to which we could use. But just having an airfield would mean I could actually fly things there, fly things back, which would be nice. So I could potentially choose flying and aviation sport over here. Now, another reason why I like that base is the fact, well, if we take a look at the road network, there's some pretty good roads over here. It sits at the center of this junction over here, this triangle almost. So it's not a pivotal city, which would make sense why he's not actually garrisoning it as such. But it's one of these of where it actually could play an important role here in China. The reason being, well, if we were to take control there, there's not a very large garrison over here at Changtai. So what I could potentially do is send a division or 2 divisions or potentially other forces there. We are seeing only about just under 10,000 men 4 enemy units. So what could be accomplished here is potentially, as we do cross the river over here in the future, we do dispatch forces to head over here to Shanghai to actually take control of the city, and then obviously if I could grab control over here, that would be great. Obviously he would still have the rail lines open over here, but it would actually cut the north off to him to a degree. Though the thing is, I don't imagine he's going to be marching up over here. I imagine he's going to be trying to escape down this way in the future. Now, with that being said, really what we have to do then is once we do cross, okay, so let's say that we advance into Changsha, and the city of Changsha falls in whichever manner it does indeed fall. We then have to cross over here to I can't remember the name of the city now. But from there, we then need to advance upon Hengyang? Is it Hengyang? I think it's Hengyang. I'll have a force head potentially up this way and potentially up this way as well. But basically, we want to take control of this area, because what he's going to be doing here then is, if we take a look, so he's pulling back over here to this side of the river, which is fine. Obviously, we'll have to cross the river, and I've been told that there will be a shock attack. We can't get around that one. It's basically, if you have enough assault value on the side of the river, when you send subsequent units, units, they don't have to shock attack, so that's fine enough. Now, is he going to make his stand over here? I mean, this is clear terrain, which is fantastic. I'm going to be really interested to see what he has here in terms of defenses. There's currently 3 units over here. So I can imagine he's probably got some fortifications in all these cities. But the thing is, when he's got like ×1 defensive terrain, it isn't going to make that much of a difference. Of course, it will make a difference, but it isn't going to be as dramatic as it would be over, let's say, at Wenkao or Numair, for example, where it's ×3. So that's not too bad. So I think from there, he's probably going to be moving over here. And then potentially he'll move over here to Kuei Lin, obviously down here. He's going to be trying to head back. We'll see about that. We will see about that. See, the thing is, it's going to take him a few days to actually travel down the rail lines there. Of course, that is all dependent on whether he's actually going to do that in the first place. So we do see that there's clear terrain over here. So the thing is, it's like our armor could potentially make its way over here. And depending on what actually happens, it might be actually quicker to move up this way. But this is where the armor is really going to play its major role here in China. Though, I think what we'll do is probably use the majority of the armor, just keeping in this area. If I can seize this base via air power, I'd be very happy. I don't know, it's going to be a very interesting situation here in the future, really. Because if I can smash the Chinese armies here at Changsha, then that's going to give us a major, major boon there. The cities in the Changsha area are actually quite nice. Don't get me wrong, there are better cities out there, like, I mean, the Dutch East Indies is what we really need for the longevity of the Empire. But we do have resources, yeah, resources, light industry, light industry, light industry. Over here at Changsha, we do have some heavy industry and light industry resources, which are nice. So all in all, this is good to take. As to how much of it actually survives the battles, I do not know. But this is taking away supply from the Chinese armies. Obviously, he does have the Burma road that's going to be bringing in supply here. But what we're going to be doing here then in the near future... See, at the moment... Yeah, I'm going to use orange as... In Warplan, orange, Japan was described as orange, and the US, well, allied as blue. So I'm going to use the orange colour when we refer to Japanese. It makes it a little bit easier then. So what I'm doing here then is I'm getting ready to move forces to Bangkok's airfield. I did previously have the K-21 2As, or was it the 2Cs? The 2Cs were previously here at Bangkok, but they're moving down there to Malaya. We've seen... Let's see... Okay. So previously we did see... Obviously he has since moved his air power out to Singapore. It looks as if he's moved some of them to Sabang. Which is evident by the fact that we see aircraft over here. He normally would not have aircraft here, for any reason I can really fathom, so I can't see any other explanation other than he's moving aircraft out from Singapore to Sabang. So from Sabang, probably to Port Blair. From Port Blair, he's probably travelling there to Rangoon. So it's going to take him a few days there to arrive. I imagine he probably has a few forces there as well, which is to be expected. But the good news is here, really. See, he's got a level 5 airfield over there, which is no joke. He's got the ability to produce fuel, and he's got the ability to produce supplies, so that's very good. We do see him actually looking towards, conducting an actual counter-offensive down here. The second RTA is going to attempt to withdraw. We've seen it on return, it actually happens. The issue is we are going to be crossing over here. Now, there's a small garrison over here, but if I can get out, then at least that is worth something. Ultimately, it is a RTA division, so it's not worth the most in terms of victory points, but obviously I'd still rather keep it. It's still a handy unit to have there, but what happens will happen, really. So what I'm trying to do here, then, as we can see over here at Saigon, and the 59th Sentai is getting ready. They've got a few Ki-20, a Ki-43 1C squadron there. Yep, so about 25 of them are ready soon, which is going to be excellent. So currently they're resting, they have very low fatigue at the moment, which is fine. But what I wanted to do here then is actually have them shipped out here to Bangkok. I am moving actually yes, we can see that we have the 94th JAAF engineer unit over here. They're moving up towards Chiang Mai, which is over here. Now, Chiang Mai does already have the RTA Cavalry Division, which is fine. At least it has something in the way of an actual garrison here, which is very good. Granted, they only have 14 guns. I mean, 6 81mm mortars, 8 50mm Krupp mountain guns. They actually do have some Vickers tanks over here, which is rather intriguing, actually, so that's interesting. But indeed, what I'm looking towards doing here is actually having aircraft based out here at Chiang Mai. The issue is it's a level 1 airfield, but it's not bad. It means I can actually have a squadron based there of Ki-43 1Cs. So what I'm looking towards doing is actually probably bringing some naval bombers here in the near future, perhaps. You see, what I'd like to do is the 22nd Air Flotilla is heading down this way. But what I'm going to do is actually change my mind. I'm going to have... I think I forgot to do this in the actual turn. I can't remember as such. But we do have... Let's see... Right, I have the 3rd Air Division that's heading towards Temala. Right, so Temala would give me range over... So it's actually a... Air Division. So it's got range of about 4 hexes over here, which is fine, which is very nice. So from Temala, it would not have range over Johor Bahru. But what I'm going to do to remedy that situation is, for example, now the issue is that these rail lines aren't too complementary here, so what I'm going to have to do is go all the way down and back up. But what I'd like to do is actually have it move into, let's say, Kuala Lumpur. Potentially. So Kuala Lumpur would have range over Johor Bahru, Mersing, Malacca, Kuantan, obviously Kuala Lumpur, Temala, Taiping, and Kota Bahru. So that's actually a really nice position there. It would allow us to make use of all these bases here and actually use torpedoes there, which would be fantastic. But what I'd like to do then is the 22nd. I mean, the 22nd is going to arrive here then very soon. But what I might do is actually have it turn about pretty much immediately. If I take a look over here then. So the 3rd Air Division is on its way now towards Timala. So what I think I might do then is actually in this time. Because the thing is, it's like the 22nd Air Flotilla, it's going to take some time to get set up. So I'm considering really having, I don't know, because it's going to take around about the same sort of time really, maybe 1 or 2 days in between it. But what I could potentially do then is have the 22nd Air Flotilla actually, instead of heading down here to Johor Bahru, he's actually having head up here to Bangkok pretty much immediately. The reason is then I can actually have the naval bombers established over here, at least a squadron of naval bombers. I'm preparing Ki-43 1Cs to move into the region. I think what we're going to be doing as well is probably bringing the Zero Squadron up from Singapore as well. Once we do establish that he's not going to be running any sort of interdiction of the bombing over here at Singapore. So I'm going to be having the Tainan KUS-1 more than likely move up over here to Bangkok as well. The reason being the Ki-43s and the A6M2 they do have a sufficient range there for Rangoon, which is superb. Now, the ability to actually have something based over here at Chiang Mai would be nice. But something that we're going to bear in mind is we've seen reports in the operational reports that over the actual RTA units, we have been seeing heavy bombers, torpedo bombers, that sort of stuff, but I think medium bombers as well. But heavy bombers is very indicative of the B-17. So it looks like he might be potentially basing his B-17s out this way. But what I'd like to do here then is potentially, depending on really how things turn out, is I'd like to base the bombers more than likely out of Bangkok, as well as the Zeros potentially, or another squadron of Ki-43 1Cs, and then I'd like to potentially have another squadron of fighters over here at Chiang Mai. And if possible, if we do have airfields, we do have a airfield over here as well, so I could potentially do... I'm going to be moving additional aviation assets over here as well. So what I can potentially do then is actually have another squadron based out here, which would mean it is indeed 6 hexes over here. There's a level 2 airfield over here. So really what I want to do then is make use of these airfields in Thailand. And that would actually give me the ability to project air power over this part of Burma. So really what we want to do here then is I want to shut down the port at Rangoon. I want to prevent him from bringing in any additional supply and moving any additional supply to China as much as possible. Obviously there's going to be a great deal of supply more than likely there already. But that's what it is really. I can't do much about that. Now as far as it goes over here in China, this is going to be a big deal. Because if I can actually defeat him here in central China, at Changsha, and if we're able to... I really want to keep him on the back foot, and I really want to push as hard and as fast as I possibly can. So if I was able to grab this base by paratroopers, that would be superb. Because that would give me a point here from which I could actually have my forces able to cross the river safely, for example. He's not going to be as easily able to retake the base unless he gets forces marching immediately. Now, the thing to consider here is the use of armor. I think what I might do then... I mean, the thing is, I've got to sweep over all these cities over here. I've got to completely sweep over them. We've basically got to perform something akin to a blitzkrieg, really. We've got to be very quick after the initial victories and really keep going. The thing is really over here at Changsha, if he does pull back, and we can see there's 32 units there. So it's going to be very interesting. Is he going to go for a partial... pull back across the river? How many units is a partial movement? Is he going to send 1, 2, 3? How many units does he actually want to pull back? And the thing is, the more he reduces his strength at Changsha, the better it is for us as well. Because that means our strength is going to become all the more overwhelming. And we still have strength on the way. We've still got another 2 divisions over here. If we take a look over here, we have another 2 divisions, another 2 regiments, 3 independent engineer units, another headquarters, where I'm going to have one of these. I've accidentally deployed a very large headquarters in the area, so it's probably the North China area. No, actually not the North China area. China Expeditionary Army? Yeah, okay. So these guys have a command radius of 9, so I'm going to have them pulled back. They can actually be safely positioned over here at Wuchang. Now, the interesting thing is, over here at Wuchang and Hankow, we did previously have a lot more in the way of supplies over here in the following turns. Previous turns, I should say. But it has actually since moved down here to Shanghai, which is okay, and we can get it moving back up there. What I'm going to do then is probably take some supplies either from Port Arthur. Like over here at Port Arthur, I do have 98,000 tons of supply. So I'd like to move some of that into actual mainland China, but I'd like to move it up the actual river over here, up the Yangtze to Hankow, Wuchang, really. Try and get it moving out there. I'm still looking to take control of this hex over here. So if you guys remember, we did see a Chinese force down here. The base over here then, so Pingxiang, will fall to our forces next turn. But I do not have control of this roadway over here. So what I'm trying to do then is move the 8th Armoured Car Company, which is over here actually. Yep, I'm trying to move the 8th Armoured Car Company as quickly as possible, so I can actually retake control of this. I've also got a 4th Brigade over here marching down here, just in case. But once I take control of that road, then depending on the actual situation, it might be worthwhile to actually have the forces move out over here, via the actual roadways. But saying that, the situation is developing here pretty damn rapidly, so it could be really all to play for. And there's a lot going on over here in China. Hell of a lot. And we did engage the war area headquarters over here, but irritatingly didn't surrender, so I'm going to have to chase it down. He's moved a unit over here, but I'm unpacking a unit of... I'm unpacking the 4th Mixed Brigade. Unfortunately, it did stop a 28th Engineer Regiment, which is an irritation. So otherwise, I would like those guys out there. But a few days, we'll get rid of that unit, and then those guys can carry on moving, which is fine there. So I've got Task Force 365, which is moving down the coast there. Moving down the river. They're going to move into Shanghai to pick up additional resources. The 38th continues to move towards Canton. Once it's available, I'll have it packed on board the ships there. We do have the 21st Division now moving out. They're carrying 26,000, almost 27,000 tons of supply. They're headed down here to Malaya. So I've got the 48th Division that's about to arrive on the morrow, actually. Yep, it should arrive tomorrow. I was just going to take some time to unpack. Once it has indeed unpacked, I'm going to then begin to cross the causeway and advance upon Singapore. Now, I do have to stress this, guys. We are going to take a hell of a lot of casualties on crossing the causeway, and I mean a lot of casualties. So the thing is, we're going to have to just accept that. There's no two ways around it. Singapore must fall, and we must begin the advance. The sooner we begin the siege in proper, the better, really. I imagine he's got a lot of fortifications, but the thing is, since he's actually pulled out his air forces at Singapore, it does give us the ability to actually really ramp up the damage there. So what I'm going to do here then is ramp up the damage against the airfields, preventing from further fortifying. And then what we're going to be doing there is just running constant air attacks and really increasing the actual weight behind these air attacks as well. Try and put everything I can behind it. And what I'm going to be doing here then is the next couple of days we're going to be really considering what to actually keep here in China. So I might take all of the K-21s, I might take all of the actual medium bombers that we have in the Empire, barring the actual naval bombers, and I might be taking a look at actually having them head down here to Malaya. The reason being, if I can put down as much damage on the actual Singapore garrison, make them use as much supply as possible, it'll give in all the sooner there, really. I did actually unlock, well, I did release a few regiments of artillery, about 4 regiments of artillery from China, Manchuria. I've released an actual air headquarters from Manchuria as well, so that's going to be moving out here shortly towards Shanghai. I was considering actually having that artillery head down here to Bataan, but in the grand scheme of things, Bataan is something I don't mind waiting for. Like, it's tying down 2 divisions and some additional forces, but so be it. I'd rather concentrate on Singapore at this point in time. Once Singapore falls, and obviously once we're doing well in other areas, then I could potentially look at sending additional forces over here to Bataan. The other thing is, as we keep running the actual naval attack there at Bataan, he's not going to be able to sneak in any additional supply there. And obviously we do have the actual air power that is still bombarding him, well, still bombing him there at Bataan. So he's going to be using supply whether he likes it or not, and there's going to come a point at which he has no supply left, which is fine by me, and then we'll attack, begin to grind him down. And the thing is, like, he's going to be fighting at 1/3 his fighting capacity once he's actually run out of supply, so that's going to be excellent. So the state of the Empire looks good so far. We're starting to really recover from our, well, from my initial inexperiences and mistakes that I made there. Sure, we lost to Haruna, but we have much to gain. And I'm looking forward to restoring the honour of the Empire, really. I think there's a lot to be gained here. Now, the campaign here in the actual, I suppose we'll call it the syllabus campaign, has been really very interesting from the actual get-go. Now, we've taken Kendari, so we're Kendari under our control here. And that was our first logistical base. Manadao has since fallen. We're going to be advancing upon Ternat, so we're going to be landing here tomorrow, which is going to be excellent. We've got the elements of the, is it the 38th Brigade? I forget, is it the 56th Brigade? No, I think it's the 38th Brigade. Is it? I can't remember which brigade it is, but we do have a brigade over here. Now, what they're going to be doing is moving to this position tomorrow. We were initially going to have them land over here at Ambon, but what we're doing here then is actually preparing a 4 battleship bombardment task force for hitting Ambon. So what we're going to do then is on the following day is we will land here at Ambon with just under 2,000 men. I'll look towards the 65th Brigade, that's it. I'm going to look towards bringing additional elements of the 65th Brigade in towards Ambon, which is great. Now, we did secure the base here at Makassar, which was fantastic some days ago, which is very, very good there. I've since been able to establish K-43s. We do have some aviation over here, which is fantastic, but I'm looking towards bringing additional amounts of aviation support in over here. So at the moment, I've got 12 K-43-1Cs. Additional ones can be flown in soon. We do have only 8 aviation supports. I'm looking towards bringing more in here. The only issue is I'd love to have these guys fly out, but due to the lack of supply, they're unable to use their drop tanks. But what we're going to be doing here then is I'm really going to be using them to sweep the air bases over here at Java, depending on their range and obviously on the bases over here as well. But I'm going to be sweeping Java first and foremost. Another point that I want to make clear here is the fact that we do actually have the 23rd Air Flotilla. Now, it did take some losses. So we have had a reduction in the amount of like support and aviation support here, but that's not too bad. We can obviously have this replenishing time. They're really just made up of support units, and they're not that large. It's not too bad, really. Replacements are on, so they'll arrive when they arrive, which is okay. That's fine by me. But it gives us the ability to use torpedoes over here. So what I'm doing then is I've got the Takao KUK-1 squadron over here, which is 26 G4M1s which are running at the moment. A 27th is stood down for maintenance. But yeah, they do have a little bit of fatigue, but the fatigue's not too bad. The pilots aren't too bad either. I'm resting about 30% of them. But what I'm doing here then is I'm running, well, naval search at 70% here and 30% rest. Now, the excellent thing about this is I do have 2 naval bomber squadrons over here. So we have the Takao KUK-1 and we have the Kanoya KUK-1 as well. So that's a lot of naval bombers. That's a whole hell of a lot of naval bombers. These guys have just arrived here, so they're actually stood down completely. They were transferred out from truck, I do believe. But the beauty is, as soon as I can actually get these guys with enough supply to run, well, drop tanks on these missions, I'm going to be looking towards bringing an additional Ki-43-1Cs over here. I've got the Ki-43-1Bs over here running long-range combat air patrol, just combat air patrol around Kandari, just around this region here in general. We do have a lot of additional logistics coming in. Plenty of additional warships. Plenty, just much coming in here. We do have the 5th Air Division that's moving in here as well. So the 5th Air Division, obviously being an air division, has the ability to project... let's see... Their command radius is about 4. I was hoping it'd show me here, but it's not going to. So they'll have a command radius of 4. Which unfortunately doesn't cover Makassar, I don't believe. But the thing is, that's fine. What we're going to be looking towards doing then is positioning the actual air division and a strategic location in the future. But at least we'll have the air flotilla over here, which I can have flown in over here to Makassar or transported out here to Makassar. But the good news is it gives me the ability to just, yeah, really use Kandari, which is fantastic. The only issue is over here at Kandari, we are a little bit short of supply, but we are unloading 6,000 tons over here. This invasion force is moving upon Koh Pang, so it's guarded by the Ashigara. There's 3 torpedo boats there. We do have 4 fast transports there as well, which is very good news. So they're going to be moving upon the actual base here at Koh Pang. That's going to take them about 2 days to arrive there. We know he's utilising aircraft over here. We know he's got submarines over here. But the thing is, we are making progress into the actual region here at large, which is superb. The Mini Kitabatai did reveal herself last turn. We did actually, well, we hit a submarine tender. I'm going to assume that we probably sank it, considering it did take a few hits there. But it has a lot of ships there. Now, the issue is it did use a lot of our torpedoes. But that's fine. What we're going to be doing here then is, if I bring it up, is we're moving the Mini Kitabatai. It's either this position or this position. I think it's about this position it's moving towards, which is going to be about 8 hexes away from any enemy air base over there, which is going to be excellent. Now, I've actually adjusted the search patrol patterns of these submarines, so you can see that we do have a lot of submarines moving into this area. So a lot of them are moving down here, a lot of them moving down here, and a couple of them are going to be moving down towards this area. Obviously, we'll adjust it on the fly as we need to do so. The reason is anything that's coming out of Osthaven or anything that's leaving the Dutch East Indies is going to head in one of these 2 directions here. It's unlikely he's going to be heading down here south, so what I want to do really is get more submarines over here to the north just to really try and catch him out. Now, something to bear in mind is we will have the ability to start running our naval bombers over here very shortly. As soon as these headquarters get into position, then we can actually start to run the naval bombers. So the thing is, what we're racing towards doing here is actually racing towards the ability to actually project naval bombers out over the straits over here. So that's 14 hexes away from Johor Bahru. I mean, it could be done from Malacca. It could be done, but the airfield is a little bit smaller over there. We have a very nice airbase over there at Johor Bahru. What I'm doing as well is I'm waiting just a little bit of time for the 124th Infantry Battalion to be assembled. Now, one of them has a day to be unpacked, so it should be ready tomorrow. So what I'm going to do then, once they are unpacked and reassembled, so reconstituted into their full unit, and I'm going to have them land over here at Singkawang. So once I do take Singkawang then, I can actually look towards moving in a potential, like, I don't know, some sort of air headquarters or something of that nature into that base there. I think the time for it to be really utilised as a naval strike base has passed, but I'll be able to use it just to project air control out here using the actual fighters. So in the near future, we are going to be bringing the pain against Singapore, as we really do need to accelerate the campaign there in just any way possible. So I think I'm going to try and just put all assets I can potentially put into that area on towards Singapore. It depends really. We are making good progress in the Celebes area. We have been taking some... We've taken some damage over here. Some ships have been sunk, but we have been doing fairly well so far. But the thing is, once we do take these bases in the area, then he's going to find his options severely limited. So, Ternat will be attacked tomorrow. Ambon will be attacked in 2 days, but it's going to be bombarded tomorrow. It's going to take a significant amount of damage there tomorrow, ideally. I think he's operating bombers from over here, or at least aircraft from over here. So taking out that airbase, or at least causing damage over there, will be very good. The base there at Kopang, we can see he's actually operating actual aircraft. So once that's taken out, then that is actually, well, let's see here then. So, Kendari, Makassar, Kopang, Ambon. So that's 4 very large air bases in the area taken over. We have Manadao, which is another large air base over here, so that makes it 5. Then if we can take the base over here at Ternate, that is a 6th air base over there, which is great. That solidifies our control over this area. It prevents him from really doing much in that area. Now, I feel like the actual Allied surface assets are probably something in this area over here. This is where we've seen Allied surface assets actually operating in this area now. So what we're doing here then is we are moving the actual Kiribatai. So they're going to be moving out this way, roughly in that sort of direction. But they're going to be ultimately moving over this way, obviously staying away from the coastlines. But what I want to do here then is from this point is I want to prevent a breakout and basically try and take control of the actual situation. Sink any light assets, really just try and prevent him from leaving the Java Sea. So then what we'll be doing is running naval bombers. I'll be heading over this way. I've got naval bombers that can be heading this way. So in reality, I'm trying to trap the Allied surface forces in the Java Sea. I'm really trying to just prevent anything and everything from moving the Dutch East Indies. I don't know what is actually in the Dutch East Indies, but I can imagine there's actually a fairly large amount of ships in that area. So it's going to be fantastic. At the end of the day, anything destroyed here is going to be worthwhile. I'm looking explicitly for tankers. The reason being, it isn't going to make a major difference immediately, but it will make a difference in the future if he finds himself with less tankers. It means he has a lesser ability to actually move the fuel to where he needs it to be. It's one of these of where it'll make a difference, but it isn't going to be like war. It's not going to be a decisive difference, but it will make a difference in the near future, actually, which is going to be quite nice. Especially when it comes to him trying to, I don't know, project power once again in a few months, it will make a difference then. Of course, he'll have additional replacements by then, but we'll see about that. So that's more or less this area covered around Japan. We have actually established the airbase over here at Paramashiro Jima as well, which is fantastic. I've got 2 H6K4s over there, with a 3rd one in reserve. Once I do have additional aircraft, I'd like to base them over here at Paramashiro Jima. Indeed, we're looking towards strengthening our air search across the Pacific, which is very good. So over here then, there's a lot going on over here at New Guinea. We've already landed here at Manus. We'll be securing the base at Manus tomorrow. We're landing over here at Hollandia, and we're landing over here at this base as well. I forget the name of it. We're going to be landing over here at Mandang. Now, we did actually have this base over here, so I think this base is called Salamua. Yeah, that fell to our control yesterday. Now, the important thing here is not only is it another 3,000 supply that we've been able to gather here, it actually is a very vital asset here in this area for the time being, due to the fact that it actually has a port and it has an airfield. Now, traditionally, these bases are garrisoned by Australian units, so it's very interesting to see that it's actually moved out of this area here. If this fell to our control, without any units actually being closer than Buna, that signifies that he probably doesn't have any garrison units in this area. So, does that mean he's actually marched from Salamua down here to Port Moresby? Potentially so. Has he taken those forces and sent them to, I don't know, like Fiji or elsewhere, to Australia? Maybe. I really don't know where he could have taken those units. So it's honestly going to be a very interesting time here in the future, actually, to see what is actually going on, which is going to be exceptional. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Now, we're going to be basing, we do have an actual air division out here then, so you can see that we do have the 11th Air Fleet. Now, the actual air fleet is fantastic, because that's a command radius of 5. So what I'm going to be doing here then is I'm going to be basing it out here at Gazmata soon. We do have additional forces. So these forces, well actually I think the base over here at Rabal. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be moving out. One of them is going to land over here. One of them is going to land over here and another one over here as well. So I'm going to take control of these bases in the area pretty quickly. Within the next 2 to 3 days we'll have control of these bases over here in the area. So we'll soon find that the New Guinea area, the Bismarck Sea and the Solomon Sea becomes more and more so under our own control. I'm actually looking towards actually transferring the aviation tender over here to Salamua. The reason being, I could actually have aircraft based over here at Salamua, or potentially fighters based over here at Salamua, Mua. The reason being, well, having reconnaissance would be great in of itself, because I can actually run reconnaissance over here at the area at Port Moresby. It just makes it a lot easier for us. We do have the division over here, so the 56th Division. We do have the 1st Engineer Regiment as well. So they're moving upon Port Moresby. They're not as far away as I initially expected, only 92 miles, but it's still going to take some time for them to arrive. But within about a week or two, they'll arrive over here at Port Moresby, and then the siege will begin at Moresby. The terrain at Moresby is jungle, so if we take a look at the actual legend, figure out how tough that is. So jungle, thankfully, is only level 2, which is really quite nice. Noumea is jungle and rough, which is ×3. Wenkao is forest and rough. So yeah, you can see here, clear ×1, urban light ×2. We don't move through it very quickly, as you can see. Jungle is, yeah, we move 5 miles or 5 kilometers each day or each phase, roughly, with infantry. So if we take a look at the actual terrain, so we do have jungle rough, so that's going to take a little bit longer to get through. But the thing is, we'll eventually get through it and we'll arrive over here, which will be very nice. So moving our assets out here. The Kiribatai has since arrived at Truck. So they're in over here at Truck. What I've gone ahead and done is actually put the Zuikaku, I believe it is, into the port here to actually undergo some repairs. So yeah, we have Zuikaku. She's going to have a few days there just to get ready. She's in readiness state right now. We've got her on critical importance. So what I'm going to do here then is actually repair some of that system damage as much as I can. We've been using, well, Infinite's been helping me here with this one. And what we've been doing here then is actually resizing our squadrons over here, which is pretty damn good. Yeah, still to finish that. But that's very good. I mean, I'll cover that one more so in the future. I'm going to move in fuel out here and supplies out this way in the near future as well. Rebal's going well, obviously you've been able to take that base. Now over here at Noumea, we will be launching an attack tomorrow. What I've done is actually stood down the 84th Naval Guard just to make sure that they are not broken. They do have a lot of fatigue still, but we're going to attack tomorrow. Emperor willing, we might be able to break them. I don't know. They'll probably have rebuilt their fortifications, but what I'll do then is I'll attack, rest, until it breaks down. Inevitably, it will crack. These units really do not have a capability to fight back. Like, they can defend themselves, but they can't launch any sort of counterattack. The longer the actual battle goes on here at Noumea, I mean, it's one of these things of when it really doesn't particularly matter to me when it falls, as long as it does fall. Obviously, I'd rather it be sooner rather than later. But the thing is, it could be giving him false hope in the actual area, which is actually rather intriguing. Now, he may believe he has a chance to potentially restore order in this area, but we'll see about that. We can see that we did detect actual forces moving in this area. We did see heavy cruisers, we've seen destroyers, we've seen a lot of assets in this area. We know that he's built up the islands of Fiji and Pago. We know he's been doing that. So what I've been doing here then is I'm going to be looking towards actually targeting his logistics in this area. So I've established that these are going to be the actual anti-shipping lanes. Obviously I'm going to be experimenting with them as we go into the future. What I'm looking towards doing is actually taking assets from either Tarawa and from Funafuti as well. And I'm going to have some of the actual aviation assets shipped over here to Canton Island. I've got H6K4s over here, the Toko KUT-1. So we've got a few over there of the actual H6K4s. But I'm going to be looking towards actually bringing some over here to Canton Island. The reason being that I can then actually almost see over the Line Islands. I mean, I could push the extended range out and I would have range over the Line Islands, which might be worthwhile. But you can see that 20 hexes is about there. So we actually do have almost able to touch the Line Islands with just normal operational range. And I could boost that and do the extended range, and we would have reconnaissance over the actual islands, which would be nice. So what we're doing here then is we have not seen his carriers for a long time. Or for a fair while. So I still feel like they're probably in, probably somewhere in Hawaii. We saw them initially bomb Midway. They then obviously headed back. So what I'm feeling like is if they're not at Pearl Harbor, they're probably moving down here to Palmyra. If they've not already done that. We've seen tankers moving in this area. I don't know if they've moved to Palmyra. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. The next likely destination would be Pago. And then what I imagine he's probably going to be doing is actually heading down here to Auckland. Now, this is going to take a good number of days. Obviously, he's going to have to refuel his carriers as they advance down that way. I mean, what I do probably expect is him to launch an attack against New Caledonia, or to potentially launch attacks just up and around this area, something like that. What he may do is actually move over here to Australia and then begin to try and attack these areas over here, which he can do, but the thing is, well, over here at Rabaul, once we actually do have the actual air fleet in position, I can actually bring to bear a good number of actual bombers, which is quite nice. I mean, really, as far as it goes in fighting enemy carriers, what we're going to be doing then is not looking towards... Well, we're not going to engage them on one-to-one sort of orders. We're not going to engage them in a fair fight. What I'm going to be looking towards doing is actually just using the squadrons, using the fighters, just to give them the capability just to do one strike or two strikes against the actual enemy carriers if possible. Potentially night strikes, but we'll see about that. But all I need to do is try and hit his carriers, or at least try and cause him some attrition of some nature. That's the actual plan there, really. The Kinabatai. I'm going to have it rest for the time being, try and repair it as much as I can do. But in reality, the proper repairs are not going to come until we actually go in for the actual upgrades, which is later on in the year, which is going to be worthwhile. I mean, it doesn't do wonders for us as such. It does increase the actual amount of AA, which is not bad. Let's see, what sort of changes do we have here on cargo? Right, so it takes off the 200mm guns, which is they're gigantic. But they're not dual purpose. They do have some excellent range. But yeah, you can see that they're replaced there. Well, they're not even replaced, they're just taken off. Which is understandable, really, just because it doesn't really make that much in the way of difference. I don't know if any of the other parts of the ship are upgraded. I'd have to take a look. But it's not so much cargo that's going to be gaining the really meaningful upgrades. We have Hero over here. Yeah, we need the actual radar systems to come online. Soru. You have no radar. But AA increases, which is okay. Shokaku. Yeah, this is it. I believe it's Shokaku and Zuikaku that actually receive the Type 21 radar system, which is actually really quite good. Well, it's good for Japan. It's good for Japan. So that works for me. Akagi. Yeah. The thing is, they receive all their upgrades around the same time, so what I'll probably do then is actually have them move into Japan and undergo those repairs and upgrades, which means that we'll not have the Kinabatai for some time, but the thing is, we'll have the islands and using the actual land-based air power to just really try and fend him off as best as we can. We're going to go for a policy of light garrisons as much as we can, and it really is going to be the Marianas, that's going to be the main line of resistance, the MLR, and this is probably where we're going to be conducting the actual main resistance. Truck I don't imagine is really under threat. He's probably going to go for the historical war plan orange sort of approach to the US, but we'll see about that one. So, all in all, things are really kicking into gear, really. Plenty of operations. Changsha is going to be interesting. Malaya is going to be interesting. Batan's still interesting. We've still got a lot to take out. But things are getting bad. Returns are becoming interesting once again. The intensity is really picking up once again, as there is a lot of operations undergoing at the same time. So, thank you so very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This is obviously the abridged version of what is happening at the moment, what the actual plans are, what the actual feelings are at the moment. So I'd like to say a big thank you here. And of course, if you do enjoy my content, please do consider becoming a patron of mine. It really does make a tremendous amount of difference. I'm not even kidding when I say this, guys. It allows me to buy new books, and with college coming up, money's going to be a little bit tighter, time's going to be a little bit tighter. So what I wanted to do here then is really try and figure out how best I can spend my time in the future to give you guys the best quality content that I can do. So if you guys would like to become a patron of mine, you can head over here to Patreon and head over to my page. And yep, any pledges are appreciated. There's a lot of rewards available at the moment. Obviously, there's prints that are available in sizes A1 and A2. And I do have a deal with a company, so I can actually get you guys some miniatures there. And of course, you're paying a lot for a miniature here, but the idea is obviously this is to support myself, and you get something for it, really, which is nice. It's something a little bit different, and I thought, I don't know, maybe you guys would appreciate having the Japanese. But of course, I can get German, British, French, etc., American tanks. I can get a lot of stuff like that, and not just tanks either. So, let me know if you'd like to see that, and of course, thank you so very much for watching, guys. I do hope to see you in the next turn. So until then, thank you and goodbye. Tenno Hika Banzai, and the Empire salutes you. Until next time, goodbye for now.